What's up, my peoples? Y'all know who it is. For most of y'all know me as Coach. Most of y'all in Central Florida, y'all know me as Coach. From coaching y'all at Dundee Ridge Middle School, down in the heart of Florida, or y'all know me as Deja's father or Xavier's father, from Haines City High School, working with Coach Paul over there. Or you may know me over at MC05 as a manager and a leader. But I'm putting together a team. The last and final gold rush. Hav-Life gold rush. Because I've been in the game for a very long time. A very specific game. A game called Break the Cycle. Break what cycle? Breaking the cycle of poverty. Breaking the cycle of capitalizing on dehumanization economically. Taking a group of people who can't fend for themselves because they've been stripped of all access to resources and access to power, access to capitalization, and access to transformational change that can produce wealth and abundant lifestyles. Our people have strategically and systematically been left out of, on purpose, the economic windfall that comes with having access to financial power, access to resources. So me and my team, we made a commitment 20-something years ago that this generation, we would take a stand. So I'm known as a lifestyle coach called Dr. Life, because we in the business of saving lives. You know how a first responder is supposed to do, like lifeguards. But in this situation, we are disaster relief first responders. You know, like the Coast Guard, the U.S. Coast Guard, when Hurricane Katrina or these horrendous disasters happen. But we're the first responders in these man-made, unnatural disasters. These economic disasters like trickle-down economics of the Reagan and Bush administration. Trickle-down economics, where those who are at the top, the negative 1%, the crooks at the top, they take all of the wealth and they let the crumbs trickle down. And for generation after generation after generation, they've left our community starving. And our number one enemy are the sellouts in our community that look just like you, that come from where you come from. They go off to Congress, they become senators, they play this political game. They become your civil rights leaders. They become your spokespersons. They put together Million Man marches. And they take in 30 pieces of silver from the trickle-down economics of the top to be the puppet figurehead, making sure that all of the masses stay right where they are. That's how this game of Monopoly is played. Well, years ago, there's another game that came out. In the 90s, Robert Kiyosaki, billionaire, wrote a book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And because we saw so many similarities to the financial blueprint that our richest dad has given us. And we decided to take a group of young people. My son and daughter this was 99, 2000. My son was 3 in 2000. My daughter was 1. This millennial generation, we decided that we're going to give the richest dad, poorest dad financial principles to this generation. And we're going to grow this generation up to be able to take a financial stand. So I'm going to show you what I owe you. See this? OU. OU. This is a university where African Americans have been for 120 years getting off into the highest levels of society. And just like the story in the word says, when the 10 lepers got healed, 9 of them ran off. Ain't never looked back to say thank you, never went back to go get the rest of the lepers from their community and bring them so they could get healed. 9 of them just ran off, took the blessing and jetted. That's what's been happening to y'all. It's been people since this existence of this diabolical slave system set up here. It's been people who've been able to get out, and they constantly leave our people behind. They constantly get amnesia and they run off for the little trinkets that they dangle for them. But just like in the story, it was one leper who came back and said thanks. And then when he came back and said thanks, the master said, all right, now go get the rest of your people and let them know where the healing is at. That's us. That's us. Break the cycle is about making a transformation and then going back and crushing and tearing down the system that's killing our people. So all our people, we've decided we ain't going to eat until you eat. So this group of young people, Kamar, Ayende, Tyrese, this group of young people in Central Florida who've had access to us over all of these years, we're going to take y'all, we're going to use y'all as a launch pad. We're going to couple y'all with our children who've been receiving this access to power all their lives, and couple that with some individuals who have the skills and ability to build a launch pad. But then we're going to have y'all go out and let all of the young people know where to get access to the last and final Hav-Life gold rush. It's a gold rush coming. We're in the midst of a gold rush right now. Gold rush always comes. There are business cycles. Let me show you these business cycles. So right now they're promoting their little high school dropout who's become a millionaire. A high school dropout.
Hello, Moto.
Hello? Hello? No. Here you have a high school dropout named Eric Finman. They go out to Idaho, Iowa, somewhere, and they find a textbook token kid to create a story around. 2011, he happened to have access to some resources and happened to have access to some knowledge and information and happened to have access to the ability to invest some money that was given to him, $2,000, $1,000 from a grandmother in Bitcoin. And by 18, he's a multimillionaire. High school dropout. 85% of our high school dropouts end up in prison. This is a slap in the face. But their high school dropouts, they let you know our high school dropouts become multimillionaires. This is the difference between access to power. But thanks to Dr. Life. Hold up. $12 for a single Bitcoin. Finman now owes 403 Bitcoins, which is 1.9 million. We're going to show you, like I told you, since 98, we've been studying the business cycles, the crashes and falls of the economy with billionaires who have been sharing the blueprint of how they have been riding the waves of these rises and crashes and capitalizing on them to build phenomenal wealth. The only thing is no one ever shares this with our community until now, since 98. This says cash flow. Monopoly is about their people controlling the bank and monopolizing everything on the board and owning all of the wealth. And monopoly is the life that you live. But rich is dad, poor is dad, cash flow streams. Hav-Life cash flow streams is what we're telling you we're going to expose you to. And all we ask you to do is be willing to go out and expose as many people in your generation to these cash flow streams before the next tremendous man-made financial disaster hits. Before another too big to fail financial crisis of 2008 and 2009. Before another major 1999 dot-com bubble bursting. Before that, Glass-Steagall savings and loan crisis. We've been following the rise and fall. And always, their community has been tapping into cash flow, and our community has been being monopolized. That day is over. Because in Break the Cycle, we've taken high school dropouts and we've supported them and helped them launch into multi-millionaires as well. The only difference with us is we in Crenshaw High School with these multi-millionaires. We in Compton, California. We in Chicago, Illinois. We in Orlando, Florida. We in Trenton, New Jersey. We in Brooklyn, New York. We in Miami. We all over the country, giving our people access to dodge this next.
I get sick and tired of hearing people, talking about the problem. On the news, everybody's throwing out these statistics. There's more black men in jail than in college. I'm tired of hearing the numbers. Everybody's doing research on the problem, but you have very few people who are actually creating solutions for the problem. That's why we do the conference. These kids don't need to be talked about on TV. They don't need somebody talking to them like they're crazy. They need somebody who understands what they've been through, who's been there, who's done that, and can say, I understand what you're going through, and I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna take your hand and help you to get from point A to point B. So that's what the conference is about. The conference is about giving them solution to their problem. Real solution.
So what my man's talking about, that's a multi-millionaire high school dropout to #1 motivational speaker in the country, in the world, right now, for your demographic. We launched that enterprise. So now we looking for a new crop, a new group. All you got to do is have talent and be willing to grind. And be willing to take access to power and not run off like the rest of the people in our community always do. Be willing to go back and grind with us in the trenches, in the highways and the byways, and transform and break cycles. Set some people free. Become a first responder. Be in the business of saving lives. Y'all already know. Y'all done hooped for me. Y'all done played for me. All y'all need to do is come out one more time. This is one more trial. Come out for this last final tryout, and I promise you, whatever you got on your plate, whatever opportunities they offering you, educationally, whatever dead in 9 to 5 you in, whatever generational curse of poverty that's been plaguing your family, I promise you, we're going to trade places with that monopoly game, and we're going to turn the negative cycles of poverty into cash flow streams of abundant life. Then we're going to send y'all out to hand them out and pass them out. Jessica, all my peoples, Central Florida, John, Chris up there at Mount Sinai Saves, my main man Arashane over in Apopka, my peoples in Paramore and Washington Shores, Pine Hills, 3D, 2D, all of my peoples all throughout Central Florida. We're going to come together. We're going to form like Voltron. We're going to use you as models to do this. This is the ultimate goal. So they have their version of the 1%. And they have the same people who have been selling your financial future out to the highest European bidders are the same ones they always prop up in front of you. Are the same ones that they roll out to be your icons and your leaders. But these are the same ones stealing your inheritance. And so now they come out with their version of what black wealth looks like. But we're going to give you the historical version. We're going to prove that we are the original kings and queens that have always been the head and never the tail. And the only reason we not riding off in the sunset because we ain't trying to leave y'all behind. We not trying to eat until you eat. This day version of what wealth looks like.
Baller, and if that didn't work out, then I literally had a young lady that told me she was looking to marry a baller. And if that didn't work out, then she was okay with getting on the pole, as she put it, and doing what she had to do. And I looked at the teacher, she just kept knitting with her head down like nothing was wrong.
The lack of generational wealth in the African American community has never been in sharper focus.
A lot of us grow up thinking that if you get a paycheck, your job is to go out and spend that paycheck making Nike rich. You are the drug addict and somebody else is the drug pusher. You are the prostitute, someone else is the pimp.
Generation 1 looks at our history.
I think if you went back and looked at the history you would look at examples that would make you sick, that would literally sizzle with the level of injustice that happened with African American people.
Generation 1 provides a blueprint for building a legacy of wealth.
You have to almost do the opposite of what all your peers are doing because they're managing their money the wrong way too.
There's cornerstones to wealth, and black folks don't even know what those cornerstones are. There's 6 wealth building foundational blocks that have to be in a portfolio in order for that portfolio to be balanced and diversified. It includes businesses, it includes real estate, it includes precious metals, rhodium, platinum, palladium, gold, silver. It includes annuities, it includes equities, it includes the foreign currency exchange.
Generation 1 takes an honest look at what's happening.
Who's working this hard only to just leave and the thought of leaving your children behind in a worse place than when they got here? I don't think it's fair to your children to have to, have a bake sale or a car wash to bury you.
Generation 1 is the movie our community has been waiting for.
Really, no one actually cares if we succeed or if we fail. That's just point blank. So instead of worrying about why we have failed, let's look at the unique attributes that we bring to the table that would help us succeed and thrive in many, many years to come.
It's Hosea 3:6, people perish, people die because of lack of information. The black community is dying because of lack of information. We don't need to be wasting time, wasting our energy and our breath on things that make no sense. Wearing your pants hanging off your behind makes no sense.
Lamar and Ronnie Tyler present Generation 1, the search for black wealth.
You'll get a lot of black folks who talk about a conspiracy. See, you don't have to have a conspiracy theory if you have institutional racism. The white folks are not sitting in a room saying, all in favor of discriminating black people, raise your hand and say aye. That's not how it goes down. You set up unequal structures that provide unequal outcomes.
Available now on DVD. Visit.
And unfortunately, the ones who taught the fair-skinned European how to set up the structure to divide, conquer, and enslave their own brothers look just like you. The Greeks and the Romans had no clue. The Greeks and the Romans were the last kingdoms to come in place and take power. And they only took power because nations like the Blackamoors sell out Nubian nations like the Persians chose to unify with Greece and Rome, sell out communities like the Egyptians, chose to embrace Alexander the Great and Julius Caesar at the expense of their Nubian brothers. Ham put Ethiopia, Sudan, and the fall and the perpetual slavery that happens today is because African Americans claw and fight and scrape to sell out their own communities for the crumbs in Reagan's trickle-down economic system. I'll show you some of them. We've collected over 30 multi-millionaires, some billionaires is in this crew, that we give access to the least of these among us, just to show and prove that when you ain't dealing with brothers and sisters selling you into slavery like Joseph's brothers did to him. This has been going on since the dawn of time. Cain killed Abel, very first brothers. And they've trained you to watch the fairer skinned Europeans When it's the darkest skinned Europeans that's right next to you, that's slitting your throat all day, every day. And then they give them a title. They call them your idols.
My first fruit.
And they give them your inheritance.
Years older.
And they call them the 1%.
It was up the girl next door. What?
These are people who are uber rich.
What are the stereotypes of the 1%?
Entitled,
Selfish,
me,
white,
they don't play by the rules, not thinking about others that may have come from a different side of the track.
the 1%, as you well know, is overwhelmingly white. We're talking about the top tier of Americans who have and own a majority of the nation's wealth.
Wealth, the definition of wealth, is the difference between the value of a family's assets, such as financial assets, as well as homes, car, businesses, and their debts. It's the difference, it's the gap between your assets and the debts that you own. That's wealth. If your assets supersede by a large amount the debts that you carry, you're wealthy. That's the definition of wealth. I'm not going to play the whole video now. Y'all need to come see me. We putting together a dream team of young people in this area. We call them we're starting a modeling agency. The Yes USA Dream Team Modeling Agency. What type of models are we going to put out here on the runway? The highest fashion statement, financial statement business models. Each and every one of you is a gold mine walking. We're going to show you how to tap in and mine the wealth. You're a walking gold mine. You're a walking financial business model. That's why your recreation has been enslaved. That's why all forms of entertainment, you're enslaved. That's why you drive. Every culture of the world derives their culture from you. You are the ultimate commodity. And if you remain enslaved, and if your brothers continue to be the slave masters keeping you enslaved, then those who don't have the ability to physically hold you down and hold you back will forever be able to eat when your brothers hold you down for them. We removing all of the obstacles. We breaking all of the chains. That's what Break the Cycle is about. We destroy all traps. We jumped all of the hurdles. We're going to give you the blueprint. All we ask you to do is do the same in return for other people around you. Y'all come see me. Y'all know me. Y'all come see me. This is supposed to be Christmas. Listen, that's just a distraction to keep you throwing away your money going into debt. We're going to show you what to do with that money. We're going to show you how to tap into this last Hav-Life gold rush. All right, I'm going to let y'all go. Y'all come get with me. Starting from Sunday, we're going to take off on Monday because I know y'all are going to be with family. But Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, come get your daily bread. Your Hav-Life daily bread. All Hav-Life means is 100% gold. The best gold ever. Hav-Life Gold Rush. Come get it.